everyone, Jim Bostock here. Hope you're doing well. In this video, I'd like to talk to you about this really popular pain in females, more so than men, where the hip locks. The anterior hip especially, but they also feel it in the posterior hip as well, in the groin. But this is the interesting test. When they bring the knee up, so bring both knees up like this, and they try to roll it out to the side, one goes beautifully and the other one gets stuck. The hip pain, locking sensation, tightness, stiffness just stops the hip from moving. Another classic one is when they're sitting on the floor and they try to cross their legs or bring the feet together and try to drop the knees out to the side. They can't do it. So let's say you're sitting and they're trying to drop the knees out to the side. The bad hip just locks like so, and it doesn't go. This one goes beautifully, but then the hip just locks. What is going on? And tend to live with this for months to years. I had a lady this morning. Wow, the pain and the locking sensation she's been suffering with now for over 6 months. I've met many with years suffering this problem. It's insane. So this hip locking problem, more so in females, what is it? Number one, when the MRI scan, for example, says everything is clear, nothing wrong with the hip joint, and yet this pain is going on, classic situation. I call it nerve locks, sitting in the anterior hip points, also in your groin points, so in your adductor muscles or adductors, and in your deep gluteal muscles. Nerve locks in these areas lock this hip and cause the pain the way they do. So the nerve locks come on because of micro traumas. For example, the female is an athlete, or they do something repetitive in the day that's strenuous on the hips, etc. Or from injury, trauma. I twisted my hip funny, I fell over, I fell off my bike, I sprained something previously in my ankle or knee, and I've been dealing with that, and now my hip is really sore and funny. All these micro traumas to major traumas can cause nerve locks to develop and lock the hip in as a protective mechanism. Because I always say nerve locks are about the way the hip muscles, for example, in this case, are protecting the area. The central nervous system is trying to protect the area from further harm. Something went wrong. It said, nah, lock down, please. That's what I call nerve locks. And interesting one, thirdly, emotions. When females, more so than men, when going through a very stressful period in their life, months to years, the buildup of stress hormones in the body, the parasympathetic nervous system sits deep within your pelvic region. The parasympathetics finally say, hey, you're stressing me out too much. You're adrenally fatigued. Your body is overrun by stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, you know the drill. Nerve locks, as a self-defense mechanism, can lock in the hip because of the glutes. The glutes are highly connected to the parasympathetic nervous system sitting deep within your gut organs. So emotions are very powerful in your gluteal muscles, locking down as a self-protection mechanism. So nerve locks in the glutes, therefore developing nerve locks in the hip and the groin, causes this dysfunction that stops the female from opening up their hip, not able to open up their hip. It is crazy how it just locks like that, and yet medical examinations show that everything in the hip is healthy, it's fine. And this is very debilitating, as you can imagine, in so many ways functionally for a female in their life, especially if they're athletic, if they're a mom, etc. So this is a horrible problem to deal with. The way I treat this, of course, the nerve lock treatment that I designed to unlock in the areas in the glutes, opens the hip back up beautifully, immediately. Of course, if you're unable to get the nerve lock treatment, wherever you are in the world, I recommend dry needling for trigger points. Try and get your practitioner to dry needle the trigger points in the hip, in the groin, and in your glutes, and hopefully that helps unlock your hip for you. Exercises for the hip whilst you're suffering this, whilst you're going through this, whilst you're dealing with this. I recommend gentle adductor stretching. You've seen me do that before, where my legs up out to the side like so. I love this one where my legs are out to the side and I'm gently stretching out my adductors. No more than 4 out of 10 discomfort. Really, really nice. I do that up to 4 to 5 times a day, holding up to 20 seconds. Also stretch your glutes. You know that drill where your leg comes up like so. The bad hip up and gently bringing up towards the chest. If I want to show a better angle, like so, bring the knee up to the chest, gently to the chest, and you'll find the glutes stretching through here. Again, up to 5 times a day, 20-second holds. Make sure no more pain than 4 out of 10. If you stretch your glutes and your adductors frequently throughout the day, you'll find the hip feels easier. The key point, don't stretch into pain, keep it comfortable, but frequent. That's the most important thing. Any questions about this? Unusual locking hip pain in females? Comment below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Until the next time, take care, speak soon.